Hey, thanks for stopping and checking this out. We've maybe connected somewhere at an event. Maybe we're friends. Maybe we've connected on social media. Maybe you've just seen some ads or content, whatever it may be. Here you are, and you've been presented with this video. So, what I've done is I've created this because I have this conversation over and over and over and over again. Really great business owners with great stuff, that sometimes life changing stuff that people need, but they struggle to get it out there. They struggle to grow their leads or sales. They struggle to grow their marketing. They struggle with their websites and stuff. And so I've created this as the perfect starting place to help teach basically the key pieces that I notice are consistently missing. So this is what I'm going to share with you is really what I've learned over the last decade, growing a business into a few million in revenue. And I think that you'll have a lot of great takeaways from this. So I think of it like this. You've got your thing. Maybe it's a skill, maybe it's your gift, maybe it's a passion or purpose. It's likely a product or service of some sort, and I'm going to help you share it with the world. See, have you tried doing websites, social media, emails, whatever else, and it just didn't seem to work? Or maybe you've hired people to do websites, social, ads, funnels, on and on and on, and that didn't seem to work either. What I'm going to show you is something that most business owners, and for that matter, most marketers, actually have no idea about. See, so often what I find is great people with great stuff that others need and want just haven't figured out how to get it out there. That's what this is about. So by the end of this video, it's not very long, you're going to know how to get your message out there even more, what's possibly missing from your marketing, how to sell more, whether products, services, whatever, without being salesy, how to grow your business in an easier, ethical way, and next steps for you, whether that's with our support or on your own. Okay, so who am I? Chris Crawford, founder of Kickass Media Inc. If you don't know me, I'm going to share a little bit of my background, of my story, and how I've got to this place. The company now has done over 5 million in online sales. We work with some of the biggest brands in the world and marketing firms on marketing campaigns. I'm going to walk you through the exact steps of how we got to this place. But years ago when I started out, I had no clue what I was doing. I absolutely no clue. What's really awesome is this is my team. Well, some of the team. So we have what I found as a result. What really surprised me. See, in the beginning, it was just about wanting to do something. But what I didn't expect was that over time, I was going to build something where my passion has become the team and our mission. So we're on a mission to help business owners like yourself get their stuff out there. But I also love the fact that I have great people around me and we have a lot of fun. And as you can tell by just these couple shots, we goof off a ton and we do some really cool projects. In the bottom, well, at the top, we were doing the local Christmas parade. And in the bottom, we were outfitting a movie premiere for Disney. And we do a ton of projects like that. And I'll talk a little bit more about specifically what we do. So, how do most people approach their marketing? They say, and I want you to think about, is this you? I have something to share with the world. Let's build a website. All right, sounds familiar. Okay, first, they hire someone that's going to build it. They create some text, find some photos, maybe do some video, and they put it all on there and they hope for results. Part two, the website isn't doing anything. Let's do some social media posting. So oftentimes in the beginning, people will go, hey, I'm going to do something myself. They create poster ads, they talk about what they do, they get mediocre or no results, or they're confused about the results and they get a little lost in the analytics. Part three, ugh, I hate doing this stuff, but I know I need to spend more time on it, but I have too much to do. Let's hire some expert or someone else. Let's try to do something. They hire someone that tells them a great story of how awesome it's going to be. They create random content or posts that talk about what they do. They get mediocre or no results, or they're confused about the results that they got. Part four, jaded and frustrated. They don't do any more of that because it doesn't seem to work. It's a waste of money. Their websites end up out of date. Their social media hasn't really been posted on in a while. They end up relying on referrals and word of mouth to grow their business. Oftentimes they end up struggling with cash flow and they're not growing in the way that they want and they feel like they have too much to do and they don't have the money to be able to hire. Does that sound familiar? So this was exactly what I did until one day it clicked. Exactly. So what you may not know is that I was just unhappy and unfulfilled at a corporate job. So over 10 years ago, I was just working a job. And when I started there, it was great. And I was excited about it. But over time, I started to find that I wasn't fulfilled and I didn't feel passion. And I reached this point where I was making okay money and I'd spent the money on stuff and I was in the rat race with the car payment and the home and the this and the that and living for the weekends, and it sucked. And I got to where I was like, I want to do something else, but I didn't know what to do. And I was so stressed, and I wasn't that stressed in the beginning. It was more like I just started to feel burned out. I just felt unfulfilled, and I felt like I wanted to do something, but I was afraid to leave because I was making great money. And so I was like, oh, I can't leave this. And I talked to family and friends and stuff, and they thought that I was crazy. And finally, I think I got to the point where I was more afraid to stay than I was to leave. And I got the courage and I quit and I just went for it. And everybody around me told me I was crazy and they questioned what I was doing, and I went for it. See, it takes courage to go after your dreams. But the thing is, that's also not enough. You have to have more than courage, right? Because it takes courage to go for it. And I honor probably all of you for being here because you all have some courage for going after it. But does courage sell products? No, I didn't sell anything for 6 months. And then maybe another 4 to 6 months after that, I was broke. I mean, I burned through my savings. My credit cards were maxed out. My cell phone was getting cut off. I had creditors calling. I had to move out of my apartment, move into my girlfriend at the time into her parents' basement. And for some of you that are maybe friends with me or know me well, you may not even know the depths of the story that I went to. So I moved into my girlfriend's parents' basement. And I felt like a total loser, and I was living a few hours outside of Toronto in Canada, and I was frustrated, and it sucked. And I would ride the bus into the city, and I would take the local transit around, and I was going door to door handing out flyers, just trying to get sales, trying to do whatever I could, and was struggling really hard. And some nights I'd actually end up sleeping at the bus station, and because I would ride around all day, and I didn't want to ride the Greyhound back a few hours to her house because I wanted this same thing the next day. So at night I would stop and I'd be like, well, I'm just going to sleep here because I would blend in with travelers. And maybe in some ways I don't know, I was too proud or something to get a hold of anybody that I knew. I didn't have money for a room and I didn't know what to do. And so I'd sleep sometimes at the bus station. And I wake up in the morning and you're all cramped. It's like sitting on a hard seat. You know what I mean? It's not very, very great. And, there's other dirty people around. I remember one day I woke up and I went down to the washroom and I came in and opened the door and I was unshowered, I was unshaven, it stunk like urine. It was gross. There was graffiti all over the walls. And I come in and I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking at myself in the mirror. And I'm thinking, how did I get to this place? Right? But but the reality is that I don't think we're defined by the situations we find ourselves in. See, I think we're defined by what we do in those moments to get out. We're defined by the actions that we take. And see, in that moment, I was still so focused on, I had somehow created this vision in my head of what I was going to build, and somehow I believed it. And I didn't stop, and I just stayed focused on that. And I had faith in that vision, and it just kept pulling me forward. So I don't know what's going on in your world. I don't know what you're dealing with. Chances are, if you're here, you're trying to grow something, and maybe you're stressed and you're frustrated, and maybe the situation you find yourself in doesn't match the vision that's in your head. But here's the thing, you have to have faith. You have to continue to have faith and not stop and believe in yourself and believe in your vision and keep going forward. So you have to have faith in your vision. But the thing is, that's also not enough. But I learned that having courage and go for it, having faith is a key thing. See, one of the third key pieces that go along with that is learning and evolving. See, there was one day years later down the road. So I went from that place where I had been going door to door and I was getting a little bit of sales and there was a strain on the relationship, and I moved back to my hometown. Um, for those of you that know me, I moved back to Wellington. I camped out for a summer and I just kept working, and I scratched together enough money to get my vehicle back on the road, and I would drive to the city a couple hours and I'd go door to door and hand out flyers, and I would get little bits of sales, and I would come back and I would sit down with my laptop and I was teaching myself how to build websites. And at that time, I was camped out, so I was running my laptop off one of those power converters, those inverter things that you plug into your cigarette lighter. That's how I was running my laptop, and I had a cooler and I had a barbecue, and that's how I was living. And all I focused on was my basic needs. So I just wanted to make money, to eat, and keep gas in my vehicle and keep my cell phone going. And that's all that I focused on. And I had one of those internet sticks that plugged into my laptop. So I was studying websites and I was studying all this stuff. And I would work on it, and I was reading and listening to podcasts and looking at everything and doing everything that I could, trying to figure out how do I get customers on the website. Something in my gut just kept pulling me towards that. But I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never built websites. I wasn't a graphic designer. I wasn't any of those things. So I just kept studying, kept studying, kept studying. And then finally, I started to get some traffic on the site. And I would collect a little bit of money and I would pay some ads to get traffic on. And I would watch what that traffic did. And I looked at the analytics and I was testing stuff. And I started to slowly get some results. I remember the first day that I got a phone call from the website. This was it. There was one day. And somebody called and said, "Hey, I saw your stuff online. I don't even remember what it was now, but I know they called and they said, they were asking me, do you do this thing, whatever." And I knew in that moment, if I can get one, I can get more. If I can get one, I can get 10. If I can get 10, I can get 100. If I can get 100, I can get 1,000. I knew that it was that first one, and that one was it. And I did. I started to get some results online, and things started to grow a little bit. And it got to the point where I had to open a little office space. And for those of you that know me really well, you remember I opened that office space in that old Chinese food restaurant in our hometown, and it was hilarious. So I had this one employee, and we started to get a little bit of sales, but I was still struggling really hard. And maybe some of you are at this place where you've actually created a bit of revenue and you've kind of got something going, but you want to grow. And what happens is you start to get revenue and you're pulled in so many directions, right? You got to do this and you got to do that, and you have to market and you have to sell products, but then you have to deliver whatever it is that you're going to do. But then you got to watch the financials, and we get our accountant on that. But we got to pay the bills over here, and then we got to do this thing, and we're running in all directions. When you're in that zone, that's a tough zone, especially when you're under maybe 100,000 in annual revenue. That's such a tough place to be in, and maybe even under a few 100,000. So I had my one employee, and we were in the Chinese food place, and it was called Sheng's Wok, for any of you that may remember. And so in the back was the old greasy fryers and the old woks, and the walls were covered with this oil from so much deep fry that we couldn't let the boxes touch the wall. It was like sticky flypaper and it would ruin the boxes. It was so gross. But we cleaned up the front and we had this kind of cool looking little front space. And one day I came walking in, and my one employee, Dave, loved Dave to pieces. I wouldn't be where I am now without that guy Dave, without everybody that came along the way. And there was one day I came walking in, and he says, "You got to watch this video," and I watched it. And the lesson was, some companies talk about what they do. Most companies talk about what they do. Some companies talk about how they do it, but great companies talk about why. I want you to write this down. This is a key thing. This is it. This is the game changer stuff right here. And the reason why most marketing and websites don't work is that most people are talking about what they do, their products, their services, or whatever, or they talk about how, which is the method or their team, or they use buzzwords like quality, service, integrity, all this stuff, the how. But what people really care about is why they want it. Right? Think about it. When people don't buy products and services, they buy solutions to their problems, or they buy things that they think are going to improve. So they buy on their why. It's really being able to put purpose in your message. So I want to ask you, what is in your current message right now? If you think about your websites, you think about your stuff, what are you really talking? Are you talking about what you do? Are you talking about how you do it? Or are you talking about why your customer wants it? Right? So this is just one part of the whole thing that you need. Okay, so what we found was I had this insight and I was like, oh, what does this mean? And I sat back and we focused on it. We said, okay, well, we have these customers and we know what they're buying, and we're talking about what, and we're talking about how, but we're not talking about why. And I started to realize, like, well, we got all these different customer types and they all have different whys. Like one customer wanted it for this reason, one customer for a different reason. I was like, well, what does all that mean? And that became part of the whole process that led us down years of figuring out what marketing really is. And anyway, we tested putting this why on our website, and I removed everything and we put the why on there, the customer's why, and business exploded. Like, it absolutely went crazy. So we exploded to 150,000 in revenue, over 200,000, over 300 and some thousand the next year. The year after that was over 500, over 800. We had our first $100,000 month. We were popping champagne, celebrating. That brings on whole growth, like that brings on other challenges. But we basically started growing, and from that point, we've been growing consistently for about 8 years now, 7 to 8 years, at about 40, definitely upper 30% per year, year over year. And actually, the limitation on our growth really was about cash flow because I didn't have money and I was struggling with such credit. And growth requires a lot of money, especially when you need equipment, team, and physical space. So there's a limit on your growth. That's a whole other story. There's other challenges. The point is that the business exploded when I got super clear on that message. So now that message is one part of what you need. Okay, are you still with me? So I just want to check in. So I know that I'm maybe dumping a bunch of stuff on you. I appreciate that you're sticking in for this. This is the stuff that a business owner, the owner, has to understand. And part of the challenge is handing this stuff off, and I'm going to tell you why here in a second. So the overall three-step plan to share your thing with the world, get more leads, get more clients, get more sales, get more whatever, is number one, you need a well-tested, well-designed, tested message. A message that people go, oh my God, you get me and I want to work with you. That's number one. That's the most important piece. Number two is you need a step-by-step plan of how you're going to share it. So what I mean is how you're going to share it. Website, social, email, offline, online, radio, whatever it may be, how you're going to share it. And then number three is the opportunity for potential customers to opt in. This is your offer, whether it's phone, form, buy my book, buy my stuff, call me, sign up for this, whatever it may be. Now, you notice how number one is the message and then number two is where you're going to put it. What do most people do? Remember the original thing that I showed you before? Where do most people start? They go, hey, let's build a website. Oh, it's not working. Hey, let's go to social. Oh, it's not working, right? Where what I'm saying is, no, don't do that. That's actually like, although it's step two of here, there's a bunch of steps in number one to get your message down that is most important. Do you see why most people now, like when you think about it, if what I'm saying is you got to understand your audience, you got to create a message with why in it, you got to test it, you got to get super clear before you build websites, before you do anything like that. See how important that is? That's why it's not working for most people. I get crazy about this, so passionate about it because I just want to share this. I want to teach people a better way. Now, here's another way to look at it. The three-step formula. Number one is a well-designed, tested message. That's your brand. That's what a brand is. A brand is a message people resonate with. Number two, a step-by-step plan of how to share it. That's a campaign, right? You hear advertising companies, big marketing firms, they talk about campaigns. That's what they do. They build campaigns, and the campaign is designed to share the message. And number three, your opportunity for potential customers to opt in is your offer, right? Do you see how that language works? So we need to understand the brand first, and then we're going to go build campaigns, and that campaign is going to have an offer in it. This is how you as the owner, the visionary, the founder has to build your marketing. You're in charge of this. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this yourself, but this is what has to happen in order for it to be really powerful and scalable and make an impact. And it can be done on a really small level. I've worked recently with a client who wasn't techie, who didn't have the money to invest, and basically we came up with a great little strategy for her to just focus on her Instagram as a way to do all this and generate leads. And it's great. And because leads are really high value for her. And so that's it. Or you blow it huge and you're like, I'm going to run ads, I'm going to do social, I'm going to do emails, I'm going to do websites and landing pages and funnels and all that stuff. And that's awesome too. And if you want to grow something really big, that's the place you need to get to. On a side note, I'd urge you to think about your marketing budget. So most people are like, budget, I have no idea budget. And usually you want to be thinking about your budget should be anywhere from 5% to 12% of the revenue you want to make. So if you think, how much revenue do you want to earn this year? What would you love to have? Remember, goal setting, we've got to focus on where we want to go, right? So if you think about where do you want to end up, and your marketing and advertising budget is how you're going to get there. So if you wanted to do 100,000, you should probably be thinking like at least, well, the tricky thing is on the smaller end, your percentage almost needs to be higher. So you should be thinking a minimum 10 grand in investment. Now I'm not saying you got to invest that today, but your advertising, that's how we acquire customers. This is how like being in a business owner, visionary founder role looks like. Now, if you want to do $1 million this year, maybe it's 100,000, maybe it's 80,000, whatever it may be. We're aiming for a couple million in revenue, and so we're looking at. I think our spend this year will probably be like 100 and maybe just over 100. Might be actually 130,000 we have budgeted. So So you got to think about where you want to be and what that percentage looks like. Anyway, let's get back on track. So number one, most important. Well, they're all important, but number one, a key piece is a brand is a message that connects with the why of people. That that right there is the reason most marketing doesn't work. And if you go and try to hire somebody and you're not clear on your brand and your message and you just hire them, what are they going to share? They're going to come back and go, give me some text, give me some logos, give me some pics, give me whatever. And they're just going to go and they're going to talk about what you do or how you do it or their own why. That's why this why has to come from you. And we help people do that, but I just really want you to grasp the concept that the message is so important. And this is where you get a purpose driven brand, you get a powerful company, you get something that scales that people go, oh my God, I got to work with you. When you see overnight successes and businesses that explode, or speakers, authors, whatever, people that their platforms explode, it's because they nailed this piece. Number two, a campaign is the how that you share your brand with your audience. A campaign could be an ad that goes to a social media page to maybe an ad that goes to a landing page, maybe to an email or to a phone call. A campaign could just be something on social media to a phone call. It could be big, where it's like an ad to follow. Like, we built some big stuff and we go, let's get likes onto our Facebook, and then from there let's get them to watch, engage with some content. From there, let's get them to get a free download. From there, let's get them to get on a free webinar. From there, let's start to educate. So it may be big, it may be small. It's your campaign, but it's how you share your message with your audience. And then lastly is a well-designed offer that's an invitation that your resonant audience wants. See, once you've done this message properly, you don't have to sell. You don't have to be salesy, because you've created it and they go, I want to follow you. I want to subscribe. I want your stuff. I want to buy from you. I want to work with you. I want to be your client. I want you to coach me. I want you to whatever it may be, because they get it. They've connected. But when we don't have this, we're stuck in a zone of where where we have to be really salesy, or we're constantly pitching, or we're discounting, or all that. So what most people do wrong is they build websites, spend on ads, do social media, video, email campaigns, blogs, other stuff, and they have no plan. They've never stepped back and created this plan. And most importantly, hiring anyone to create marketing for you without a plan is like hiring technical skill. It's kind of like hiring contractors to build a house without a blueprint. So think of it like this. If you were going to build a house, and actually I'm in the midst of building a house right now. So where do you start? You've got your vision, you know what you want to build. And you got property and permits, sure, whatever else. But you've got your vision, you know what you want to build. And then the next step is you make a plan. You work with somebody, you make this plan. Once your plan is made, then you hire contractors to create your plan, to build your plan. Makes sense, right? You wouldn't build a house without a plan. Well, marketing is the same way. You've got a vision of the company that you want to build, how you want to grow it. Next, you've got to create a plan, whatever that looks like, whether it's you, whether it's working with somebody, whether it's working with somebody like us, whatever it may be. You've got to create a plan, and then you hire contractors, aka technical skill, like website builders, social media people. They are your contractors that then create what you planned. Does that make sense? Little shift there, right? Little shift in thinking. So oftentimes people get overwhelmed right here. So this is where I want to slow down. I want to give you 3 things to remember. Okay? Number 1, it has to be your voice, your values, your experiences, your purpose. If you don't have a plan when hiring, it's going to be their voice, especially for you people that are coaches, speakers, authors, trainers, whatever it may be. Anybody in the change maker industry, healers, everything in that zone, trainers, all of it. You especially, your brand is your experience, your stories, your purpose that your audience will resonate. When you nail that, it's crazy. It's game over. Okay, so number 2, it's not hard with the right process. See, oftentimes people think that this is so hard and they get a little overwhelmed. So actually having the right process makes it really easy. And I had no idea what I was doing years ago. I just figured this out on my own. It took me a few years, but I did, and I didn't have any clue. And so with the right process, we take people through this oftentimes in hours. It's surprising actually how fast we can go through it. And then lastly, key thing is testing. is you have to make sure that it works before big investments in websites, ads, etc. When people connect with me and they talk about building a website, building whatever, I'm like, stop, don't do it. Stop. Let's get your stuff first. Like, who's your audience? What problem are you solving? What is the why that needs to go in that? What frustration are they dealing with? How are you building credibility? And once we did all this work, we were set for years and growing like crazy. Doesn't that sound way easier? So we actually did this stuff like I said, 7 to 8 years ago. And then once we put it all in place, we just sat back. See, think of it like this. People have been selling for what? I don't know, like thousands of years. The psychology doesn't change, just the tools change. The tools that we use to share our message is changing, but no matter what, it's always a message. That's it. Right? So now, sure, we have to adapt to current tools, but it's really just about learning how to promote yourself in a way that's not salesy. So when done right, I want to share this really quick, is um, our client that we decided on at that time was marketing firms. Because we said, hey, marketing firms, they have tons of clients. Let's focus on them because they're going to reorder from us all the time. And we went to an event where there was marketing professionals, and we went in and there was 3 print companies, right? We were right in the middle. There was one on our right and one on our left. This is such an awesome example. Like, I actually can't even believe how perfect this is. So we're in the middle, one over here, one over here. So the one on our right, and so it was the Canadian, what is it? Canadian Marketing Professionals, Canadian Association of Marketing Professionals Awards, and they had a little exhibition with a bunch of booths. And we sponsored, so there we were set up. So the company on the right, all 3 are printers. Company on the right says, hey, we do printing, and they talked about what they did. They talked about the products and how great their products were, right? And the company over here talked about how they did it. They talked about their technology and the equipment, and they said they've been in business for like 7 years, which actually is pretty cool. But all they talked about was the how. And then there was us. And you know what our message was on our displays? I'm not saying verbally talked, I'm saying the displays, the backdrops, the banners, what the banner said. Over here on my right, on the right at the time was what, on the left was how, and in the middle we were talking about why they wanted it. We were saying, hey, look, we get it. You got a lot of clients, right? You've got all these clients that want to buy, and you've got to get their ROI, and you're trying, you're pulling in a lot of directions, and da 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 da. And we were speaking to what they deal with on a daily basis. Okay, 3 different messages: what, how, and why. I couldn't find a photo of this. I'm super disappointed. But our booth was so busy. We were jammed. Like, it was a crowd of people, and there was nobody at either booth beside me. And in fact, at one point when our booth was so busy, the guys on the left said to the account rep, Jordan, who was there, I think we're just going to pack up and go home now. And we were talking about this recently, and he was like, oh, I kind of felt bad because I was so busy. I was overwhelmed. I couldn't even keep up with everybody that was there. And this guy's packing up and leaving early. That's the power of having your message super clear. I can have a whole other conversation about the power of offline marketing, which I'd love to have, because most people have no clue, no idea of how powerful offline is. So anyway, we had all these leads, and then the contact from Panasonic happened to be there and came up and was like, hey, I love what you guys are doing. Love to connect with you. Jordan got the marketing coordinator or maybe director from Panasonic. They were doing this launch of a new shaver, and we did the branding and we did all this stuff for their booths for all across the country, possibly North America, and turned into a really great project for us. Obviously, a great client on top of all the other leads that we got. That's what it looks like when this is done right, whether it's offline, online, you get leads, clients, sales, everything explodes. When done wrong, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of money, and it is the #1 reason for business failure. This is why I'm so passionate about it. And if you're watching this is what I really want to get across to you, is the most important thing is changing your message and changing the way that you get it out there. How's it sound? Making sense? All right. So, what to do from here? Now, actually, first, let me just back this up. So, first, I want you to stop and think for a second. What have you learned so far? Right? What are you taking away from this so far that's making you think differently and recognizing quite possibly what needs to change? Has it been worth taking the time to sit and watch this video? Right? How great has it been? And do you recognize how most people, most business owners have no clue of all of this stuff? Right? So this is the message that we are here to share and we help people with. So take a second and don't forget to really, the key is action, because so oftentimes we get a book or we do something and we have insights, but then we don't read the book all the way, or we just sit there and it's on our list and we procrastinate it and we don't take action, right? So you've got insights, but we want to make sure we get something in play. Okay, so what to do from here? Number one, stop spending time or money on marketing without a plan. Just stop it. Okay. Number two, this needs focus if you want to grow. Whether it's you or it's somebody else, this exact process, this method needs focus. Okay. Number three, you have to learn about your audience and create your message for them. That's it. We have to create the message for the audience. And then the message needs to be tested for the ideal response. This is a huge thing that we spend a lot of time doing, is testing messages, right? We'll figure out, who are we talking to? What is the conversation we're having? What problem are we solving? What's the frustration? All that. We create, we have a whole process, because think of it like when you're building your message, there's a checklist you have to do. You have to tell them the exact problem that you're going to solve and why they should choose you. You have to build rapport, right? You have to create urgency and motivation so that they want to take action, and you have to build trust and credibility. You have to have the credibility that you can solve the problem and go through all of these pieces. And when it's done right, people just buy from you. It's just that way. When it's done wrong, they either don't resonate, or it comes off salesy, or they just don't like it. All right. So that's why the message and testing the message is so super important. So what to do from here? So we are here to help. I'll share a couple ways that we can support you if you want. So number one is one-on-one with us. We do everything. You just show up. Common business owner, visionary, founder trait. You're super busy. You got a million things going on. I get it. That's why we set you up where you don't have to do anything. We literally do phone calls and we pull on content writer, graphic designer, web designer, and we create your entire brand strategy for you based on your values, your passion. We pull out your purpose and we put that into your marketing in a way that will make it really awesome. We can build campaigns on your behalf. We also don't have to. We can do the strategy and give to you to take if you have your own people. Or we can build the campaigns on your behalf. We also monitor analytics and report everything back to you to let you know exactly where your best results are, what is it costing you per customer, everything that's really important. And imagine it's like hiring someone to your team, but instead you get our entire team. So if you're going to hire somebody, it costs you whatever, a few $1,000s a month, and you get one person with one set of expertise. But when you hire us, you get strategy, you get content writer, graphic design, the analytics stuff, the web designer. All of that comes for basically the same value as though you hired one person. It's actually super powerful, and so far what we're finding is that most people are getting leads in just a matter of weeks once we go through this process. It changes the way that the business owners view their brand. We also create sales scripts. We give elevator pitches. We give outlines. We give all that stuff. It's awesome. It's a game changer. So that's one way that you can work with us. The other is you can take my course that walks you through the exact process step by step. And really, whether you work with us or you take the course comes down to where you sit as far as revenue, ability to invest. So there is a little bit more of an investment to work with us directly versus doing it on your own. If you're at the stage where you want to do it on your own and then possibly work with us down the road, you can do that too. So the online training is that you can learn how to create a brand strategy, aka your message. That's obviously key. You're going to learn how to map effective campaigns, and that will allow you to then go out and hire people or build whatever it is you need. And the campaigns, like I said, can be simple or they can be super, I don't want to say complex, but they can be big. Either way, you'll be able to define your audiences. You know exactly who you're talking to. You're going to be able to create a content strategy so you know exactly what's going into your message all the time. You'll have a specific marketing template to use. So we use that to build it all out. You'll know the location based on your buyer awareness. So buyer awareness I didn't talk about, but it's a whole piece of, if you think of it like, if you're solving a problem for your audience, for your potential customer, are they aware that their problem is solvable? And in some cases, they're not. Sometimes we have to educate that, hey, did you know that the solution exists? Did you know that we exist? But when you know your buyer awareness, it can change the way that you approach them. Like, for example, if they're aware, they may be on Google searching for a solution. Those are hotter leads. If they're unaware, they're not going to search. They're going to be on Facebook or social media, and maybe you need to make them aware. Anyway, we get into all that stuff. I don't want to confuse you. It's pretty simple when you go through. There's a lesson on it, but once you understand it, you don't unlearn it. Same with all this stuff. Once you get it, you've got it forever. And people come back and they're like, "Man, it changed the way I look at any business and marketing and helping other people, whatever." You're going to know how to hire. You'll be better set up to hire marketing talent to help you build. And all of that is basically $7,500 value. Plus, there's bonuses of powerful lead gen, elevator pitch. Most people find they don't know how to explain what it is that they do properly. They're like, well, it's like this and it's like that, and I do this and da 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 da. I'm going to show you how to narrow that down into less than 30 seconds in a way that makes people go like, oh my God, I want to work with you. Or I know somebody who's your ideal client. We'll show you how to build sales scripts for you, or if you need to hire anybody else so that they can just follow an outline. That's actually a really awesome thing. I love the sales script stuff. I'm going to teach you about offline strategy, how powerful that is. Most people don't realize that a few hours at the right event, you can end up having hundreds of high quality leads, clients, contacts from offline. And this is one of the places that big brands that we work with, like Panasonic, like Revlon, Google, Disney, Ford, LG Electronics, Vega Foods. Those are the kinds of companies that we work with now. And we work with them in offline marketing strategies. So it's powerful stuff, and the big brands get it. Also, there's an online marketing mastermind group. So as you go through the course, you also get access to a group where you can go in and you have discussions with other people like yourself. And so you're talking about maybe what you're learning, or you're asking questions. You can get other people's feedback. It's great because you've got other people that are thinking like you. Like, did you ever find as a business owner, there's not always a lot of people around that really get it and you can talk to about your business and stuff like that? It's super annoying. So the goal here is that we create a whole group with all that stuff in it. So all the bonuses are actually valued at it's $2,500 worth of stuff. Like, this is a $10,000 value going into this course. Like, I put everything that I can into it. It's absolutely awesome. And I'm doing a public offer at $997, which is, it's ridiculous. Like, most people will get a couple sales and they'll earn that back. But here's the thing. Right now, I'm doing it for only $497. So you've gotten access to this. It's early in the phase of getting this launched to the public. So I'm doing it for only $497, which is crazy. So for basically under $500, you're going to know marketing better than 99% of business owners. And you know what? I'm going to say you're going to know marketing better than 99% of people that call themselves effing marketers, because I get so frustrated at the number of people that spend money on marketing, but they actually aren't even getting any results. So, and then you'll know it for any business you ever do. Anything you do, anything anybody ever does, for under $500, you're going to get it. On top of that, if in 30 days you don't feel that this will 10x your business, I give you a full refund. That's just how we operate. We do lifetime warranties on stuff at KA Media, my print company. I'm about the long term, the big game. And if you're not digging it and it's not working for you, I want to give you your money back. Like that. That's it. So you've got the 30 days to get in there. The course itself generally is something I recommend taking your time to go through it. You could do an hour a week and maybe take 6 or 8 weeks. You could bang it out in a weekend, or even maybe one day if you were really a beast about it. But I'd recommend taking your time and working your way through, because it's going to take you step by step by step. Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Where are they? Let's build the message. Let's build the campaign. Let's do the whole thing. You're going to go through it step by step by step, and you're going to have a super clear idea, and it is going to change your entire thing. You'll grow. You'll connect with more people. More people will resonate with your message, and your business, guaranteed, will grow. All right, so other people's experiences, working with a girl locally. This girl is like, she started this business, and she was kind of confused about going out there. She was doing alternative methods to, it was osteo, so she was doing some fertility stuff, and she was confused about how to share that on social, and she found she was talking about what she did. So I started working with her, and within just a few hours, we were one-on-one, and within a few hours, she was a client that came on board. In After that, walked out, just had a completely different strategy for social. Immediately went out and started creating leads. Like, it was ridiculous, and her leads were high value. So probably I don't know, her first lead, maybe she earned back even the whole investment. Another friend of mine, and I don't feel that it's right maybe to mention the names, although I should probably get their testimonials because they told me to use the stuff. But anyway, another friend of mine spent about $20,000 on websites, and I connected with them sort of towards the end of that, and I was like, oh God, no, I can't believe it. And then those websites and all that didn't do anything for him, and so he actually went through the course, which then now and he took a course a while ago, my first test course of it, and he came out, and now always he talks differently about his marketing. He just understands it differently. He's referred some people to me. It's been great. And then we're currently working with this girl, this real estate agent. So totally different industry. And and the last guy, he's in health and wellness. And this girl's in real estate. And as we went through it, she was a client that came on as well, doing weekly calls, and it just got her to a point where she just changed the way she looked at her entire brand. Was blown away. Was like, I don't even understand. Her response literally was, I don't understand how anybody could do marketing without thinking like this. Boom. All right, so common concerns people have is cost. See, as an owner, I want to urge you to focus on the return. Yes, we need to be aware of what costs are, but we also need to be focusing on what our long-term return is. And I had a mentor that said that to me once, and it just changed the way that I look at things. I try to balance both sides, but really, what is the possible return? Time, but can you afford not to? So like I said, I did this work 7, 8 years ago. My company's been growing great ever since, and it's worth the time investment. And then oftentimes people are concerned and they say, well, do I know enough to do this? I say just show up and we'll handle the rest. All right. If it's not right for you, that's totally cool. My goal is I wanted to educate you here. I wanted to share with you how to change your thinking towards marketing and all that kind of stuff. Remember, the main thing is make a plan before doing any marketing. Please remember to do that. Now, it's the difference between focusing brand strategy and campaigns versus just throwing stuff at the wall and it doesn't really work, right? So either way, remember, someone has to do this. Look, like the stats of businesses that fail are crazy. It's over 50% in the first year. Over 50% of businesses fail in the first year, like that alone. And it's over 80% will fail in 5 years, and over 90% won't make 10 years old. And I get it, because we struggled so hard. I don't think most people would even go through what I went through. You heard my story, right? And so it's like, this is the most important thing to you getting your stuff out there, to growing your business, to making change impact on the world, getting your product, services, whatever it is that you want to grow. I mean, think about, I know you've got a vision. I know you've got something big that you want to get out there, and it has to be done, and it has to be tested, and it has to be monitored. So whether you connect with us or not, just remember, you can't allow this stuff to sit on the back burner and go, oh, I should do something. Oh, I should get to that. Oh, right? Because that's the conversation I have over and over and over with people is they're like, oh, my stuff's not that great, but they're not doing anything about it. And then their business is struggling. So I want to urge you, I want to push you to focus on it, whether it's with us, whether it's on your own, whatever it may be. Just, you have to keep trying stuff and watching what happens and testing and figuring it out. So if you have any questions or you want to talk to somebody about it, reach out, whether you're connecting with me, somebody on the team. We're here to support. You can have a strategy conversation with anybody on the team, and they can help you. Like, if you're at a place where you're like, oh, I'm not really sure what I should do, call in 1-877-880-0326. You get my team. They're awesome. I've got the best people in the world. I'm so grateful to the team that I have. Or email us, marketing@kamedia.ca. And let's set up. You can do a chat, have a conversation. They can go over, where are you now? What have you been doing? What's working? What's not working? Maybe give you some advice about your next steps. Or if you want to just work with us, reach out, whatever that looks like. There's also the link to be able to sign up for the course. Should be available right here. And so for those of you that are just like, I want to get in that course, I want to get that going, sign up here. Sign up now. You, like I said, you get the 30 days back. You could be in the course here in a couple minutes and taking the sessions, and I guarantee after the first, so it's basically what it is. It's there's pre-recorded videos, there's downloadable worksheets. You go step by step by step and you go through the thing. After the first few sessions, most people are already going, oh my God, I'm thinking differently. And you get the online mastermind group too, which is super cool. So I can go back and I can show you what the whole thing was. As a reminder, was right there. So you get your brand strategy, you get to map the effective campaigns, defining your audience, creating content, strategy, the marketing template. That's super cool. I've got a whole checklist that we've got where it's like every time I create a piece of content, every time, even if it's for a client, every time we use the template and we go, what is the one thing we're trying to share? How are we building rapport? How are we sharing credibility? How are we creating urgency? How are we building trust? And so all those pieces that make them want to buy, buyer awareness, marketing talent, teach you the elevator pitch, the sales scripts, the offline strategy, and you get the online group. Realistically, I mean, I've got $10,000 value, but frankly, it's worth. I mean, what is that really worth? Brands spend hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this kind of stuff. We're gonna raise this price really soon because this is just an initial launch for it. So right now it's only $497. Do not wait. Get on this because your business can't wait for your growth. Or reach out to us and let's have a conversation. Thank you for checking this out and taking the time to go through this. I hope that it was useful for you. And I'd also urge share it to anybody that you think needs to see this, that you think needs to change the way that they're looking at their business, their brand. Even if we don't hear from you, good luck. Don't stop. Don't quit. Remember, have courage, have faith, and keep going for it. And I believe in you. I know it's possible. If it's not working yet, it's just a matter of you haven't found the secret. Keep going, and we'll see you soon.